Well, Thomas, it is said if at first you're only sort of successful, you go back and try again, right? Isn't that how that saying goes?
Yeah, well, I had 2 out of 5 winners, but that I don't remember how you did.
I think I had a two in the back end too. So I think you were the first two and I was the last two or something like that. But yeah, we want to do better than that because really,
Ideally, yes.
yes, that would be the case. So we're going back to Randwick today. Again, we're going to catch a soft track there. And last week's observations, Thomas, it seemed to me that no matter how slow they ran up front, it wasn't slow enough.
No, they crawled around in a few races, and it didn't matter because the
Nope.
cavalry came at the end.
And it ran right on by, baby. Especially it seemed like the horse that can get like to the inside on the rail made a power move up the rail at the end, was able to capture a lot of races like that. So I don't know if that's how it's going to play out this week, Thomas, but
I guess the going was better in the inside. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of because, but we've got a soft 5 right now, and so it's a little better than it was last time.
a little bit better. It's probably still from the rain bomb from last time out, but
Oh yeah,
we're also going to sprinkle in the speaking of wet, the Grand National, which I call the roller derby or the demolition derby of horse racing. What is it? 35 horses jumping over. I don't know how
34.
many.
They actually cut the field down. It used to be 40.
Yeah, it's 6 horses.
And the race is a little shorter than last year.
And the barriers I read are softer.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we'll see if that makes. So, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the crazy race, or do you want to end crescendo on the crazy?
Let's end with the crazy.
All right, let's crescendo on crazy. I think that's a good idea. So that means we'll start off in the semi-sane today. That would be race number 6, starting in Randwick. Mr. Thomas, race number 6. We are talking about the Australian Oaks. They're going to run 2,400 meters in this Group 1 for 3-year-old fillies on the Randwick main track. What was it, 2,400 again, did I say?
Around, up and around.
So they're going to go here and then around and up and around and around and around and around and back again. Again, last week on a soft, it ended up being like soft 8 after starting off.
It still was not the best of tracks.
No. And again, last week, I mean, over and over and over again, horses got to the front, and there was a couple of races where they walked early on, and they still couldn't hold on. So I kind of had that in my, in the back of my mind or forefront of my mind, get to the front, fade, and then let the horses come run you down at the end. So early on, let's take a look at the speed map. That means that Bush Girl and Dances with Hooves, they might have their work cut out for them if there's any semblance at all to last week. In the settling position, it does look like most of the horses want to be middle back, so maybe they can get away with slow fractions this time. I'm not so sure. And then at the end, here comes the cavalry. Although Dances with Hooves has enough late pace to really keep up. So if Dances with Hooves can get away with some softish fractions, Thomas maybe can go pilot to wire or co-pilot to wire. Who do you think will hit that wire first?
I can't pass on the favorite, which is Orchestratal. Number 1, barrier 3. She's won 5+ races. The only thing with the recent victory was it was a little shorter than the other ones, about a half a length, and the other ones have been 2-3 lengths, 4 lengths in one case. But it's still tough. She likes this distance, and she likes the soft going. So this is kind of right up her. If she's going to keep going on that win streak, this is a good race to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go with 3. Zandoza, the barrier 9, finished 3rd behind the favorite last time out. But she is a Group 2 winner. She's won at this distance, but she's won longer, I should say, 2,500 meters, not 2,400 meters. But that's still she
counts.
She has the stamina.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she's sometimes very good and sometimes she's disappointing, but she does win, and so I didn't think I could leave her off my ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And the final one would take us Autumn Angel from barrier 8. She's going to be moving up in class from Group 3 to Group 1. And she's been winning. She finished second last time out, I should say, but she has won. Last 5 races, she's worst run was sixth at Caulfield with excuses, and that was 1,400 meters. This is the longest race she's ever run. She won at 2,000 meters, but not beyond. But her efforts have been good, and I don't know why she couldn't handle more. Certainly, the breeding indicates she should. So I'm going to put her on the back end of my ticket.
Well, we got the same two first horses, just a little bit different. I'm going to go and try to beat that heavy favorite in race number 3 with Zardoni, the 3 horse. I'm going to take a crack at beating. What was that?
Race 6.
Race 6. Yeah. Race 6.
After
I accidentally did race 5 too, so I forgot.
Oh, well, we can talk about that one. I only just made some picks.
That was the top of my ticket for whatever, and then I looked at it and said, "Oh, I got time. I got to hurry up. So now I have to do an extra race." But anyway, race 6, Zardoni. I'm going to take a crack at beating that favorite, even though I got the race numbers mixed up. I don't have my race notes mixed up. And that's because this one, it seems like it's going to run its best. Here's its career record, Tom. 12 wins, 12 races, 6 wins, right? But look at the soft and heavy record over here. Oh, 7 times, all 5 of those 6 wins when it's wet. So today, Zardoni, you mentioned sometimes good, sometimes bad, but almost always good on soft or wet. And for that reason, beats the 1 horse today, Orchestral, which is going to be your favorite in here, Tom. Won 6 of 9 races, including 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 in a row. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. You did mention last time out the horse regressed a little bit, so I'm thinking maybe it peaked. So he went up the mountain. It's now coming down the mountain. Maybe the valley's another race or 2 down and can finish second for me. Number 5, Autumn Angel. So we do have the first 3 just in a little bit different order, but we agree. So they'll all be low odds, and you probably want to look somewhere else. Yeah. But Autumn Angel, this one does rally very hard at the end of the race. And again, last week I saw a lot of horses, a lot of late juice, make up a lot of late ground over there. But this, Tom, is your kind of horse. Gonna win? Probably not. But in the money? Absolutely, yes. And then finally, since I'm the host, I get 4 picks. I'm going to go with Quintensa, the 2 horse. Just missed last time out, and that was at 1 1/4 miles today. Looks like the longer the race, the better for this one. So getting in the extra quarter mile today, I think, will be a difference maker for Quintessa at 10-1. Might actually prove to be some of the best value on the board there. Race number 7, Tom. I think I got that right?
You are correct.
The Sydney Cup. In this case, they're going to run 3,200 meters.
2 miles.
2 miles. Oh my gosh, these horses are going to be tired. 32. Where do they even start this one? 3,200 meters back here. So they're going to go. We're going to make like a half a turn. So 2.5 turns around the track, Tom. I unless you get out to the front all by yourself, and then you can really gear it down through like the second half of the race, I'd expect them to all kind of walk out of the gate and then really kind of slowly pick up speed and then just the mad dash to the finish line. If that's indeed the case, let's see how they'll start off. If there's any one by itself that can get off to a quick start, no. Looks like
it's on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, those 2 down there, yeah.
Yeah, you got a couple.
Major Beal and Serpentine. I would have preferred to see 1, not 2, because the one might push the other or the other might go too fast, but still only 2. But these 3 back here, 4 are going to keep them honest. Settling position, everybody's middle back. So if they can run, I just don't think it's going to happen. But if they can run slow fractions, they might have a shot. At the end, they'll all be hurtling towards the finish line, but Ash Run has the most run at the end of the run. Tom, and did Ash Run run its way into your selections?
It did, but not on top. I want to start with number 6, Salino, with barrier 9. The form has not been great lately, but this is one of those that looks like it needs longer distance. It gets it today. When it's run this distance, it has 2 wins from 4 starts. June of last year, it won an Eagle Farm at this distance, and then but prior races hadn't shown anything. So he's wanted this track before. He would prefer a little firmer footing, but he's pretty good at this distance, and you're going to get a price.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Marjan Jan, I think. I don't know.
Marajan?
Yeah. I would put this one on top, but the Barrier 16, yeah, it's a long race, but you still got to get position. He's 2 for 2 at this distance. Won his last race in a Group 2. Before some average runs, so obviously he's coming into form nicely. He would prefer the more firm going, but he has run in the money on the soft going. So I felt that he can overcome that barrier position to get somewhere in the money. I'm going to put him second. And I did take 3. Ash Run is my final. This race is back going 2,500 in a listed race. He was the favorite, stalked the pace, and won. Tried Group 1 company last time out, ran 3rd. He also very impressive run in the Melbourne Cup last year. Ran 4th in that race, and he's at 17th most of the race. So yes, if this qualifies as a dead closer, I don't know what does. So I'm going to put him for 3rd position.
I'm going to start with Military Mission. He's way out there, post 17. That's got to be a great position. But in the only 2-mile race, the horse didn't fire. But when it does fire, it tends to do some of its best work on soft footing. So let's see if it can fire today at that longer distance. I also saw that same horse with you, Tom. Marajan, the two-horse. Marajan. I'm going to go with Marajan.
I'll take it.
Yeah, this horse doesn't win unless it runs 2 miles. Then it wins.
Then it wins. Yes.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Where it's 2 for 2. So let's see if it can make it a perfect 3 for 3 at a good price, right? A nice 1-2 exacta. Those are always fun. They do well here in the States. Number 9, Amade. This one is 11 to 1. Thomas, last time out, the horse ran 2 miles. And that 2-mile effort was 3 seconds faster than the previous 2-mile route, which about 5-6 races ago. So from what I understand, every second is about 5 lengths. So I don't know if that's going to be the same at 2 miles. I'd imagine it's probably a little bit less than that, but let's just stick to that 5 length per second rule of thumb. 3 times 5 equals 15. That horse was 15 lengths better. That's a sign of improvement to me. But even if it's only 3, it's still 9 lengths better. I'll take that. And then finally, Loft, the 2-horse, the German horse. I'm going all bombs in this one, Tom, because at 2 miles, I don't really think racing style makes that big a difference. It's going to be about position and which horse is the most fit. But this is another one that doesn't win unless it runs 2 miles. Then it wins. So you can see 2 for 2. So maybe just some, and a lot of these other horses that the bookmakers seem to really like at this race. And there's really, I think the favorite was 4 to 1, something along those lines. So
yeah, there's no big short price favorite in this race.
Yeah, it was a throw your hands up, making the odds, the morning line odds kind of race in there. So I figured, you know what, looking at some, and some of the favorites, I think I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was the actual favorite in the race. Ran 2 miles once and he finished 20 lengths off after being on the lead for 1 7, 8 miles. I mean, you want to talk about backing up. So it's hard for me to bet a horse that gives up 20 lengths in an eighth of a mile. I don't know about you, Tom.
Well, part of my thinking in this race is and many others, of course, this is kind of a preview for the Melbourne Cup in November at 2 miles. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a few of these horses pop up in there.
Especially the ones that run fairly well.
Well, even the ones that run average, it's a long way to November.
That's a long way.
You got some time to get together, and then winter is coming in Australia. So they'll get most of these horses will get put away. They will be running, and they'll come back, and we'll see how if some of these run fresh very well. So that may be the thinking behind it. Get a long race in, see what you got, and put it on the shelf.
And prep for the Melbourne Cup, the partying and the post time. All right, so race number 8 is the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, RIP. 2,000 meters in this one, Mr. Thomas. 2,000 meters. Looks like we're going to start right about here. So right on the turn. So that tells me you got that little bit of it before you turn into the straightaway there and then back around another turn. Positioning, I feel like, will be extremely key here. Those outside posts probably, Tom, have it more difficult than the inside, would you say?
They definitely do.
Absolutely. All right. So if we look at the horses in this race that have the early speed to get positioning, we do see in the shorter field today that Place du Carrousel and Via Sistina, along with Pride of Jenny, those 3 should get out there. And then these other ones in here, Buckaroo, Linderman, Mr. Brightside, they should have a pretty good shot to get themselves well positioned. As far as the middle of the race is concerned, it looks like most of the horses want to be forwardly placed. That would give, I think, the edge to the horses that are sitting in the middle back, especially if they can get good position. Because if you're going fast and you get caught wide early on, it's going to make a long trip even longer. And then as you're coming down the stretch, going on home, Cascadian, Kovalika, Mr. Brightside, and Seal Wolf will be coming the hardest at the end. And again, last week we saw those horses with the giddy up and go lates, the ones that found their way into the winner's enclosure. Thomas, when this one's done, who will make the trip to the enclosure?
I'm going to go with number 8, Via Sistina. It's my top choice, coming out from Barrier 5. She made her debut in her last race in Australia in a Group 1, and let's just say she won very easily. And the jockey came back and said he still had a lot of horse under him. Comes in from Europe with a good record. They paid over $5 million Australian dollars for this horse, so they're expecting big things. And after one race, I tend to think they would agree with them. She likes this distance. She's got 8 starts and 4 wins and 3 placings. And I'd be surprised she isn't the favorite.
She's the favorite now.
Yeah, I think she would. I'd be surprised if she doesn't go off the favorite. Number 4, Linderman. It's going to be my next choice from Barrier 9. I tossed his last race out. He came out of Barrier 17. And yeah. I think it says it all right there. He's won at this distance in a Group 3 by 4 lengths. He's going to be better in this race. And I'm going to take one of the speed horses, and I think she is the lone speed, and that's number 7, Pride of Jenny from Barrier 3. She's won at the top level going wire to wire. I mean, so it's not like she has never done this before. And the last time she gave it up the end by about a half a length, and but she's going to go to the front end, and they're going to play Come and Get Me.
Yes, indeed. They are going to put that bunny rabbit tail on to see if the Greyhounds can run her down at the end. I have in this race, I'm going to go with I'm Mr. Brightside. This horse has run 10 straight races on a good track. So the Killer's horse, I think, prefers it a little soft. 8 times out and 5 wins. How about that, Tom? On the wet, 11 out of 7. I think the horse is going to sneakily enjoy the wet footing. The favorite in here, Tom, I agree. I try to beat the favorites if I think there's a horse that's got a shot. Maybe they don't. Via Sistina resume says not only did the horse run a good race last time, but second up, guess what? Going to run another good race.
That's a horse gets in form and seems to stay that way.
Race number, it's kind of like handicapping, isn't it? It's like when you're handicapping, when you're on, and then when you're off, right? And there's like,
it's not like really off.
It's not like a gradual, like you just get a little better and you know it coming. It's like high and low. Like when you're really good at it, you're like, you're in your subconscious or in your conscious, you think, man, I'm good at this. And as soon as that man, I'm good at this crosses your mind, you go, oh man, why did I say that? Because you're just about to step off that cliff, right? And then when you're off that cliff, you're down there in the bottom, you can't win a race with a 1-5 in a 2-horse race. And you're like, man, I suck. I'm going to quit. Then you're like, wait a minute, I'm about to get better. So that's how that works for me anyway. But Seal Wolf, this one is my third pick. It's a little young, Thomas. It's a 3-year-old facing up against a bunch of older horses, but this one can handle it. A pair of seconds in the last couple of races, both of which are great Group 2s. And then I agree with your assessment on the 7-horse Pride of Jenny. Gonna get to the lead, Thomas, and play Catch Me If You Can. But last week, everybody who got to the lead played Catch Me If You Can, got caught, and they ran right on by. So that's my fear again.
Yeah, I think the difference with her, though, is she's proven to sit on the lead in this top company and win. So I can't ignore her.
No, that's why I couldn't either. That's why I put her in at 4th. I just feel like it was a tough ask last week, and then a girl running against the boys. Again, a tough ask there, though. The quality is there for sure.
Well, we got a lot of girls in this race.
Yes, indeed. 2 more to go at Randwick, starting off.
3 more to go. 3 more.
Race 9 and 10 at Randwick. I said 2 more to go at Randwick.
You didn't know they're running the Grand National at Randwick?
Yeah, well, that would be a hell of a thing. I don't think they know that down there too. It'd be a hell of a surprise to pop on them. All these horses show up. Queen of the Turf, Thomas. Yeah. In this case, they're going to go 1,600 miles to find out indeed who is.
1,600 miles?
Yeah, that would be real long. Well, you said they're coming in. They're coming in from England. It's got to be that long. So 1,600 meters. Well, they both start with M. Forgive me. It's been a long day.
You'll take that, right?
Yes. Miles and meters. They both start with M and end with S. So there's just a few differences in the middle. And then they come around that turn right there. You got plenty of room in the backstretch to get yourself well positioned. So I don't know that post position is a deal maker or deal breaker. But when the gates open, and they do break, it does look like in this case, there is a lone speed horse in Tropical Squall. A couple of others that might keep it company, but I think they'll let it go out to the lead and try to see if it can set the tone. Maybe a few will get up there, but I don't think they're going to get there. Some of these others that might want to be up towards the front, it could be perhaps discouraged a bit by seeing the backside of another horse. At the end of the race, Tom, they'll all be coming pretty aggressively. Not a real big difference, except Tropical Squall will probably have to have a 3-4 length lead to hold off this stampede at the end. Any chance, in your view, a Tropical Squall is a wire-to-wire horse, or does it make your picks?
I did put her on top.
Oh, there you go.
Tropical Squall is going to break from barrier 3. Last time out, she broke from barrier 17, went to the lead, and finished 4th. She couldn't hold on. But that's a lot of ass coming out of that way outside post to get up there. So she was used early. Better draw the lead again, and again another try and catch me. This one I think they're not going to catch. So I put her on top. Took Championessa as my next choice. Barrier 13. I was going to put this one on top, but then I looked at the barrier position and I'm going, maybe not. I think there's too much inside of her that's going to shuffle her back in the field. Of course, we didn't do our speed map, did we? She's won a Group 2, came back, ran 3rd in 1, and losing by 2 lengths. She likes this distance, 8 starts, 4 wins, and a placing. She's going to sit up with the leaders, but again, the jockey's going to have to do some work early to get her in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I'm going to take number 5, Sema, with barrier 4. She's ran 2nd last time out. She was breaking from barrier 11. And normally this horse is far back. She likes to sit 8th. And so I think that'll be about where she is. But the difference here is that her previous 2 starts were at 1,400 meters and 1,200 meters, and she won both those. So adding a little distance today, I don't think it'll hurt her any. And I think she's good to get in the money, and that's where I'm putting her.
All right. Well, in this race, I'm going to go with the 2-horse. Zugacha has that rail. Looks like one of the favorites right now at almost 4-1 in there. This one is won 2 in a row. And when it's gotten itself on a soft track, Thomas, it's won 4 out of 5. So another one that doesn't win unless it's running off surface, right? Good or wet, right? Heavy or wet. That's what the horse does good on a good track. Pass on Zugacha. Number 3, I agree with you on that one. Campion and Campionessa. Yeah, whatever. This one is going to be closing. Yeah, I got it in my mind, and then like I put the two together like separately, and then when I tried to mesh it into one, my tongue just said nah. Anyway, this one's going to be closing for sure, Tom. And last time out, ran about a second and a half faster. Again, the second and a half, we're talking about seven lengths. So big improvement. Typically a sign of a horse that's getting fit. Number 5, boy, we agree a little bit on some of these horses in here. Samana. I know it's close to my daughter's name. Samana has not gone the distance of 1 mile as of yet, but I do suspect that Samana will like the extra distance and does have a trip on the track, Tom. And guess what? It won. And then finally, this one, you better be careful how you pronounce it, or you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble. A Tishu, just a little bit of a switch of the letters there, and you might come out with something different. This one has a very solid, soft record and a very solid second up record, but maybe this one at a mile is a touch too short, which could be one that you want to keep an eye on when they go a little bit longer. Our last race at Randwick is going to be race number 10. This one is the Sapphire Stakes. The Sapphire Stakes being 1,200 meters. Let's go over to our map to find the 1,200 mark. I know it's around here somewhere. 1,200. Back here in this chute, they're going to come down a little bit of a turn there. I would expect that might give the horses with a little bit of outside draw, if they can beat the inside draw horses to the corner there, a little bit of an edge, which could shuffle some of the inside numbers back. Tom, what do you think?
Be surprised. Yeah, again, I was looking for more of the mid-pack type on this race. And when they hit that top of that stretch, the cavalry comes.
Fire it up like they did last week. Well, early on, the inside horse there, Red Card, should be the one that gets to the lead. Got a pretty good advantage over Everyone's a Star.
Yeah.
So Red Card should be the one pulling the card.
Beat me last time when it ran.
Well, maybe you'll pick it this time. We'll find out in just a minute. Nope. We'll build it. Way to go to build the suspense, Tom. So you have the pretty heavily tilted towards middle to front. Boy, in this scenario, I'd really want a closer in there, Tom. Let's see if there's any standout in there. Not really. Tashi has a little bit more legs than Miss Fab Rouget. And then Saltire and Dalcini, they're right up there as well, Tom. So did you go closer or did you go speeds? You said you're going in the middle. So which middle horse is going to be the first horse?
Middle to back. So let's start with the first horse. And that'll be number 7, Miss Hellfire, coming from barrier 7. First up after a layoff, she ran 6th in a Group 2. She's at 8th most of the race. She's won a place at this distance 6 times from 10 starts. She's got a strong second up record. Not so much for the win, but for hitting in the money. And that's 1 win and 3 placings. She's won here before, which always is a good thing. But that was at a lower level. I'm going to put her on top because I think that she got a lot out of that last race. And I think second up, she's going to run away from these guys and gals, I should say. Number 11, Miss Fabergé from barrier 11. Be my next choice. It ran 4th last time out. Sat very close to the lead, and it was at 1,400 meters. And her previous race, she ran 4th, but she was farther back. And so I'm seeing, I think, a little bit of a consistency, not going forward, but maybe a little bit, that distance maybe drop back is the key. She might prefer that 1,200 meters versus that weird distance of 1,400 meters for a sprinter. She's never placed in a group race before. That's one concern. But again, I think this race is a little more wide open, and that's why I think she'll show up at the end. I think she's got the ability, and she seems to be close but no cigar type of thing right now. And finally, I will take 4, the dead closer, Tasha, in barrier 10. I really can't leave her off my ticket. She tried Group 2 company last time out, did well. Strong second at Rose Hill, 1,200 meters, and she settled in the 17th position. So that Oh, and I'm sorry, the 7th position. So she didn't have to move up pretty good. At this distance, she's got 10 starts, 3 wins, and 6 placings. Well, that's pretty good. It means you're only out of the money once.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go off that last effort. I think she'll hit the board, and she'll be coming at the end.
I'm going to go with the 2 horse because I just couldn't wait to pronounce this. Cest Magicu. I'm going to toss out that last race as he was way back, farther back than usual early on. Still made a pretty good rush at the end of the race there, though. So a better start equals a better finish. Weeness next for me, which is the 3 horse. Weenessy. I forgot the Y on there. Win in place so far in the 3rd start after layoffs, which is what we're going to see today. And at the track and at the distance, Tom, 2 races with a 2nd and a 3rd. So one that likes to perform in the 3rd up, one that likes to perform at the track. It's 7.5 to 1. I'll take that. I'm going to go with that front runner red card in there, Tom, as my 3rd choice. Really a much sharper horse in 2024 than 2023. So far, undefeated in the new year and has a nice little bit of a workout in between races. So horse should we continue to be sharp. And then finally, I'm going to go with a little bit of a long shot that has since scratched. So forget that. Mumbai Amuse is not going to run. So I only get 3 picks, the 1, 2, and 3, Thomas. That's it. So that means we're going to go off to the roller derby race, Thomas.
And you get more picks in this one. I went 5.
I only did 4. I'm going to be consistent.
Only 4.
Only 4, yes. That's pretty good. This is at Antry. This one's going to run on, what is it going to run on? Saturday, right?
Yep. Going our time around, around noon.
So this one's soft as well, Tom. So not only is
but it is drying out from what I understand. So it was a lot worse earlier in the week. So far at Aintree, the favorites on the first day did very well. And today they I think 3 out of the 7 was a favorite race. But we had a 20 to 1 win today and a 41 to win today. So there have been some prices too.
Yeah, what do you do at 34 horses? You can't take the favorite at 34 horses. That's just insane. So I probably have the favorite and don't even realize it. But
you never know.
They're going to go 4 miles, 2 furlongs, and 74 yards. It's that 74 yards where the race is won and lost.
That's the killer right there.
Yes. And they're going to go over 30 fences. That's a lot of fences.
Yeah. And I sent you some statistics that we should look at.
I saw all those statistics. Like 20 for 20, they're Irish horses. So just remember that. So I took all the Irish horses, Tom.
Yeah. Well, the Irish, no, actually are not all Irish. It's 11 English and 9 Irish in the last 20 runs.
So you look here, Tom.
But Irish bred is 16 out of 20.
They're going to start here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to run across Milling Road, hope there's no traffic. And they're just going to go boom, 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 and jump around all that track. It's a long ass run right there.
The famous Tattenham Corner. They're going to go through, and they got to go around the circuit more than once.
That's a hell of a run right there, folks. I don't know. And there's even a train. Let's see if the train can keep up. But anyway, that's what the track looks like right there, folks. You can see they're going to go 30 jumps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 6. So this last one will be the last one here, right? Because it's going to be the finish line there too, I guess. I don't know. Any case, Tom. Well, that's the finish line there. So that's what that line marks. So it looks like about 2 turns around this track. The roller derby race, Tom. As I mentioned, you got 5 picks, so just get started.
Well, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but my 5 and their ratings, is the way I did it. And these are in no particular order at this point. I took the one that got in, the 34 horse light, Kitty's Light, with a rating of 146. Trainer really wanted to get this horse in, and the odds kind of reflecting that too.
14 to 1.
Yeah, 17 Vanilla with a rating of 151. I liked for no particular reason, except it's run some okay races, and everything that I heard when I was listening to some of the pundits talk about these horses. Yeah, it sounded favorable, and I said, well, what the heck, I'll throw it in. Number 16, Ain't That a Shame, with a rating of
Ain't that a
152.
shame?
Yeah, I actually think this one could win. And it's the form has been okay. But with jumpers, you refuse on the first fence, and that's the end of you can take your ticket and throw it in the trash. Number 26 is Meeting the Waters, with a rating of 147. Again, another one of those who appears to be coming into form, and kind of like that. My final choice is going to be number 31, which is Panda Boy, with a rating of 146. And this one, again, has gotten some pundit action indicating, and again, that medium odds, but probably in this race, something with double-digit odds was going to win.
Yeah, 34 to 1. Is there anybody under double-digit odds in here? I don't think anybody is under double digits. Only one is Coach Rambler.
Yeah, that horse won last year.
Yes, the defending favorite. So I actually have that in my picks. But before I go to that one, I'm going to go with number 10. Is it number 10? I hope it's number 10. Mahler Mission at 12 to 1. I was doing
that was one of the ones I threw out because it hasn't had the normal number of races
coming in
because obviously the season starts in September, October, and today usually the winners and that's been 20 out of 20 have had at least 3 starts in the season.
Well, the trainer
That's
says
why I got tossed it.
The trainer says this is the race he's been targeting with this horse, so it's time for him to put up or shut up. Right, that 20 out of 20's got to go 20 out of 21 after this one.
The odds reflected that.
Yes, he says he wants that he'll be in prime form for this race. So let's see. Number 3. What in the hell am I doing here? Did I have one scratch? Or it's probably a different number.
No, I think you got a different number.
Oh, number 2.
Right now we don't. There's nothing out of the race yet.
So number 25. How do I have these numbers all wrong? Limerick Lace. Limerick Race is actually having an excellent campaign in 2024. So this is any horse that's in form right now. This is one of them. Now I'm concerned that my numbers aren't right. Here we go. Number 16. Ain't That a Shame?
No, our first one we agree on.
Yes. And how we did that, I don't know. But it's 50 to 1, folks. So put a circle around that one. And now you only have 33 other horses to consider. This was horses ran one time in 2024, Tom. And it won. Should be fresh. I think last year finished this race. So it has proven it can handle the Grand National. And then finally, I am going to go with the defending champion in here. That one, where did it go? Number 7, Coach Rambler. He's proved he can win this race, Tom, last year. And I can't imagine that it'll be easy to go back-to-back. But I do expect a pretty good, solid effort. So I'm going to go 10, I think, 25, 16, and 7. But apparently those numbers are subject to change. So just remember the names.
Yeah, Tiger Roll was the last horse that went back-to-back. So.
And that's it, Tom.
No, we should mention a little about the betting at least in the U.S. Most of the circuits or betting shops are going, or whatever you use to bet, will only go to 24. So you'll may get a field of 10 horses, which isn't such a bad deal. Yeah, there are a few out there that allow you to bet on the horses individually. So take a look at some of these, what they call them each way picks, or win in place in our terminology. And they're most likely will pay at least down to 5 and sometimes some cases 6. So you can maybe make a few bucks.
I think someone's trying to tell you what horse they like.
Well, he's trying to tell me that he's hungry because it's almost his dinner time. But so take a look around, because there are some differences, and depending on who you're using.
Mhm.
I don't know. I can only go by what I use, and they last year allowed you to bet all 40 horses individually. So take a look. I would highly recommend if you got on any of them, take it each way.
Yeah, indeed. So, question for you. Our always question. Any idea what's happening next Foreign Friday?
Newberry.
Newberry. Well, there you go, folks. So if you're a fan of Newberry, we'll be here. As always, on Foreign Fridays. Monday, I'll be back with Terry for Parks Racing on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, it'll be Keeneland and Newberry next Friday for Foreign Fridays. Of course, no matter what you're doing for the rest of this weekend, please make sure you head over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There's a link down in the description below for some free horse racing picks, as well as our picks for all the big races this weekend. I don't think there's no Kentucky Derby qualifying left, or maybe some small stuff.
Lexington.
Lexington.
Was that this weekend? I think it's this weekend.
I think it's this weekend. I know it's coming to a close. I know that. Maybe
Well,
a couple of
Maker's Mark was today, and the Jenny Wiley is tomorrow.
So we're only 3 weeks away from the Derby now.
Yeah, I think the Lexington's. I think it's on Sunday. I'm not sure. I didn't look. Haven't looked that far on the Keeneland program. Only made it to Saturday.
Yes, me as well. And then next Saturday, if you're interested, Sunday, there's the Illinois Derby, and there'll be a contest.
Dash for the Dandelions.
But there's also a contest at the Express Bet. It's $800 buy-in. If you lose 100 and you want to stop, you could take the other 700 out. That's how that works. Or if you win a lot of money, you get to keep all your money. But the grand prize winner gets $6,000. So whoever makes the most, you can bet exactas, win, play, show, and doubles. Whoever ends up with the biggest pool of money afterwards, they're going to get a $6,000. And I think a pick between the National Horse Racing Championship of next year in Las Vegas or the one at the Breeders' Cup. So a competition that's worth entering. I'll enter it. And then, of course, no matter what you're doing for the rest of this weekend, we certainly hope you have God's grace, God's favor, Tom, and every single thing you do, even if you try to pick a horse out of 34 to win the race, that somehow, some way, by some miracle, it ends up in
the winner's enclosure.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend.